Hey everyone, welcome back to OCD Recovery's YouTube channel, where today I'm going to talk about dealing with OCD, whether you're in college, or what they call in Europe and the UK, uni. We'll just call it college from now on, or call it university. And why I think that just because you're in university, it doesn't mean that you can if you want to, but why you more than likely don't want to let your life just go to complete shit with your structure. I was a pretty wild guy in university, but I kept some semblance of structure. Now, it will be more difficult, regardless of where you are in your life. There are difficulties. There are difficulties that each person at the stages of their life will have to go through when they're suffering. So if you have two children and you're a stay-at-home mom, you'll have a different level of problems that you'll have to address. If you're single, alone by yourself, you'll have your own problems to address when it comes to income, not having two shared incomes. When you're in university, you have the pull of all the going out, the one-night stands, the sleeping around, partying, doing drugs, sleeping in late, playing video games, etc., and not really being in the real world, and having a lot of people kind of push you to be what we call a professional student, which is more than likely not a good track to go on for many people. But obviously it depends on the person's situation. Before I go any further, please subscribe. Hit that like button down below. Let me know what you think about this video. This is specifically for people that are in university or about to go into university, or maybe you're a sophomore in high school. So let's start about what my structure looked like in university. I went out and partied and got fucked up a lot, but not nearly as much as other people. I went to UCF, University of Central Florida. At the time, it was the first or second biggest college in America. It goes back and forth with ASU, Arizona State. When I was there was about 67,000 kids. It really was not college. I mean, it was insane. My university was absolutely madness when it comes to partying. If you saw the dorms with the pools, like the off-campus dorms, I remember one time my dad, he said, like, this is insane. Like, these parties are wild. And they were a blast. We had a lot of fun. But on top of all that, I kept some semblance of structure. I got up most days at 7 in the morning, which I thought was astronomically early for being in university. A lot of times I get up at 6, no matter what time I went to sleep. I just liked getting up. I liked going to the gym. I made my classes start at around 10 so I could go to the gym. I've kept the same structure per se, but I've just moved it early and earlier. Most days now I get up between 4 and 4:30 in the morning. I just love it. I like going to the gym, getting my emails done, getting ready, putting on nicer clothes for sitting at my desk and working, and spending some time with my wife all before 7:30 in the morning, or 8:15 if my 7:30 1-to-1 is not there, because I stagger it in that way. And when I was in university, I still ate pretty well. I cooked all my own meals. I lived by myself for a while. I had 3 or 4 years where I did live with roommates, but it was a lot of fun. So I kept that good structure. Now, I did not have chronic OCD in university, but it was brewing in the background. My body dysmorphia was getting pretty bad, which wasn't good. I had a lot of compulsions, a lot of avoidance behaviors, but it didn't hit me in that chronic emotional disturbance like it did in 2019. I graduated university in 2016. I didn't start undergrad until I was like 22, because I didn't know what I want to do in my life. So from 22 to 26, or 21 to 26, I did those years at University of Central Florida, and then community colleges, getting other credits. And then 2016 to 2019, for 3.3 years, because it was 13 quarters, I went to chiropractic schools, and I'm a chiropractor. So in that time frame, my habits were getting better and better, because when you're in grad school and you're getting whether it's a master's or a doctorate or a PhD or medical doctor, usually there's a lot more time required. My hours of school were 7:30 in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. And that's not including any studying. Most people in undergrad take max, like a long semester might be 20 credits in a semester. So what, 4 months? We were taking 32 doctoral credits in 11 weeks. So I would take an entire year of undergrad worth of credits in 11 weeks, 4 times in 1 year. So it was out of control. I mean, it was pushed me to the brink of studying, plus trying to keep a relationship with my wife, plus trying to keep in shape, plus trying to have a social life. And I knew people that did that, and they worked. I didn't work in there. I was fortunate in that way to not need to work, but my habits were good in that way. I got up early, I got things done. So the first thing that you want to look at if you have OCD and you're in university, or you have OCD and you're going to university, is this. These are the most important things I would tell you. Be very aware, especially if you're in America, of taking out large loans for degrees that don't mean anything. Most people are not, if you're taking out a $200,000 loan for a sociology degree, you're fucked. There's no other way to say it. You can find cheaper programs to become, if you want to be in like a social worker, more something where you're giving back and not making as much money. I think there's very few degrees that need someone to go into debt for nowadays. Engineering, law, medicine, mathematics, stuff like that. I mean, people are going into $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 worth of debt for career opportunities that produce $70,000 a year incomes. It does not make any sense. I did not know this. I'm giving that to you. That's number one. It's probably not what you thought I was going to start it with. Number two is keeping an eye on putting the recovery work in and accepting that your life may be more difficult when you're in university with OCD. Yes, it might not be fair. Yes, your friends are going out and getting shit hammered and doing things, but that's not an excuse for you not to put your recovery work in. If you don't put your recovery work in, you're only going to get one result, and that will be you suffering. So if you're working with us, if you're watching the content, reading the books on the reading list, doing your exposures, making sure you're keeping some sort of good structure, that is your responsibility, which will give you a better outcome more than likely after university. I know a lot of people that go to university, lots. It's not particularly their fault. It's a lot of the system's problems. It's a lot of parents' issues. It's a lot of lack of education, and you're 18 years old. When the average person at 18 years old is an idiot. Just no other way to say it. Because we think we're smart, etc. It's why we're very programmable. It's why we just like, oh, that looks cool. Let me go here and take out a $300,000 loan at an Ivy League school because I want a degree in grass management. Like this, these are like degrees out there that are absolutely insane. So just be aware of why you're going to college, and then if you do go to university, and I'm going back and forth on the terms with university, it's important that you have to keep up with your structure when you're there. Okay. Number three is the structure component itself. Having a decent sleep schedule, maybe not drinking as much, being careful with how much weed you're smoking, because how university kids can be, being aware of how much video games you're playing and stuff like that. That's a huge one, okay? If your structure is very poor when you're in university and you're suffering very badly, that's usually a recipe for disaster, and you have to be aware of that. Because if you're not aware of it, it's going to get away from you, and it will build and build and build and build and build. But I want to have fun. I want to do this. University is not the real world. It is very much more of a problem for most people nowadays. Most people have debt for life because they can't pay it off. Most people are learning really, really bad structure and habits. And most people are not going into degrees and fields that are going to substantially pay them back to be able to pay their debt off or have a lot of disposable income. It's just the truth, and everyone needs to hear it. There's a lot of scam elements about university. A lot, especially in America. If you guys saw how, if you're not from America, you have no idea how much loans people are leaving with. I know multiple people that have $300,000 to $500,000 in student loans. They will never be able to pay that off for the rest of their life unless they do something extremely good in business. Just not. Or unless they inherit the home and then they do that. So it's a huge burden on people, especially young kids, and it's not fair to them, but it's the way the system works. So you have to be aware of it. You have to educate yourself and hopefully find someone that can educate you. And keeping up with that structure. Those are more than likely the most important things when you're going through university. But the biggest takeaway is that life isn't fair. The fact that you have to deal with this when you're going through university is unfortunate, but it just has to get done. So just be aware of what you have to work on your beliefs, work on your behaviors. You can have fun in college, you can university, you can go out there, you can drink, you can sleep around, you can do all those things that you want to do, okay? We're not saying that you have to become a stiff here and have no fun whatsoever. And you got to be careful because people will listen to this with the different values they hold to be like, no, university is for having no fun, like keep monogamous and keep this, all nonsense. No, none of these options are good or bad. It depends on the person, how they're using that, and how their life is turning out and the problems that they're having. So Phil at OCDrecovery.com. Let me know what you think. Really be aware of this. This is very important for the younger generations. And if you're struggling with this, please come in. We can help you. And we hope to hear from you soon. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.